Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Strathmore Council Night. I'm going to call a meeting to order. And first order of business, if we could have Pastor Glenn Peterson from Hope Community Church to give the opening prayer.
I'm one of Strathmore's newest residents, so just moved here at the end of August, so it's good to be here. Let's pray. God in heaven, in your goodness, you gather us together, and you give us leaders to serve, to guide. And so I pray, God, that in the midst of this evening, that there would be wisdom in this place, that you would use the combined perspectives of those who gather here to bring about the welfare of this town. God, for these counselors and leaders amongst us, some who have been newly elected, God, I pray your blessing, again, your perspective, a sense of wisdom, a sense of commitment to seek the best. And so, God, lastly, I just pray discernment, that you would allow all who gather here tonight to seek out your best, not just good, but best, for the sake of all who call this place home. We ask this in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good prayer.
First item on the agenda is public hearing. There is no items on the public hearing. Next item on the agenda is any amendments and adoptions to our agenda. I have nothing, Your Worship.
Nothing, Your Worship.
I have nothing, Your Worship.
I have nothing, Your Worship. Nothing for me, Your Worship.
Administration?
Your Worship, you all have in front of you, in addition to the agenda, it's 12.1 under Council Invitations, National Child Day Proclamation.
Any questions?
Your Worship, I move to adopt the agenda as presented, as amended.
Discussion? All in favor? Next item.
Is it carried?
Carried, sorry. Thank you. Carried. Next item on the agenda is adoption of the minutes for the October 16th regular council meeting minutes.
So move the adoption of the October 16th, 2013 minutes of the regular council meeting for the town of Strathmore.
Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Next item is adoption of the minutes for the October 28th organizational meeting minutes. Do you have a motion?
I move that the council adopt the October 28, 2013 organizational meeting minutes as presented.
Discussion? None? All in favor? Carried. Delegations? No delegations tonight. Thank you. Number 6 is bylaw, and I don't believe there's any bylaws on our agenda tonight. And old business is number 7, traffic cameras. And we do have an item in our agenda, and if we have any questions in regards to that before I ask for a motion. Any questions? Yes.
Just a couple of comments on it. We've been waiting to hear from Coaldale, the town of Coaldale, to see if they would sell us their equipment. Anyway, I found out today that the town council in Coaldale, even though they're not using it now, have decided to keep it. So now what we're going to have to do is, once we decide we're going to get equipment, portable equipment, then we should tender it out and then see what happens. And the tenders probably in that $90,000 to $100,000 area if we get all the equipment we need. Plus, on top of that, there'd be the need for a van or vehicle to move it and carry it around in. And with the equipment, we would be able to use on the highway, which is our big concern with fast traffic on the Trans-Canada. But we could also take it to various school grounds, various parts of town where people are speeding, and pick them up. So anyway, we'll talk more about it in the future. But the key thing tonight is Coaldale decide not to sell theirs.
Yes, sir. Councillor Sobel?
Through the chair to Dwight. Dwight, these 4x8 signs going on the highway, what kind of signs are these?
Okay, I can't tell you what they're made out of.
No, but what are they going to say?
Okay, I haven't got the exact wording here, but basically they'll be for, the truckers can't use their Jake brakes
Okay.
when they're coming through town. And in the past, right now, if you go out there, there's signs about 18 inches by 2 feet, and there's one on each end of town. One is way out past the stockyards, and the other one, so it's out too far on the west. The one on the east is right by the drugstore by Walmart there, and it should be out.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we talked to Alberta Transportation and talked about putting these little signs up. They said, no, use the 4x8, the big ones. And so we're going to get those. And so there'll be one, but we want to put them between the 60 and 80 speed limit on both ends of town. Also, we want to put one north of Hillview coming down on 817. And then we're going to put 2 of those big signs as well on George Freeman Trail, one on each end. Because we have had complaints about Jake brakes over there, and it affects the people in Aspen and Cambridge and so forth. So anyway, we're getting 5 of those big signs.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Renthal?
Yeah, through the chair to our CEO, how about on the south end, on 817 coming in from the south? There's quite a bit of truck traffic on that road, and I would suggest that if we're going to put up 5, we should put up one more on 817 south.
We could do. We talked about that. The reason we didn't at the time a week ago is the trucks are coming up the hill. They're not, so when they're coming up, they wouldn't be using their Jake brakes. And then also along there, it's all industrial area. So anyway, it was thought maybe it's not need there. But if council want one there, no problem.
Well, I would suggest we do.
Yeah. Just so that the message is clear to the truckers that
Okay,
they can't use.
we'll
Jake
order
brakes.
one more as well. And when we get them, the company that makes them has them already pre-made, so it's easy to do there. The one thing that we'll be doing is on the bottom of each sign, probably it'll be about 8 inches, we'll have our bylaw number and the fine. Because the present little signs show the fine of $100, and the new signs will show $250.
Any further questions?
I move this report be received for information purposes only, Your Worship.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. The next item on our agenda is rescheduling our November 20th council meeting to November the 27th.
I would move that council reschedule the November 20th, 2013 regular council meeting to November 27th, 2013.
Any questions?
Your Worship, I have a conflict that night with the Strathmore Library meeting. I could speak to them and see if I could come to their meeting at the beginning and then come after with the leave of council.
Yes, that'll be fine. Any other questions? No?
I guess if we could get our CEO to explain why the meeting was rescheduled.
Your Worship, that's a good point. The AUMA convention's in Calgary, the 19th, 20th through about the 22nd. Some be going for 2 to 3 days. Some may even go for 3.5, 4 days. So anyway, that particular time is key that we're in Calgary at AUMA. And AUMA is very important. And for example, FCM is not near as important as this. But we encourage everybody that can to go to AUMA.
We have a motion on the, no further discussion? All in favor? And carried. We also have to reschedule the public hearing from November the 20th for the Heritage Heights Area Structure Plan to the meeting of November the 27th.
Your worship, I would move that council reschedule the public hearing for the Heritage Heights Area Structure Plan to November 27th, 2013.
Councillor Stoffel?
Thank you. Through the chair to the CAO, I just want to assure, especially with public meetings, that if there were going to be any delegations for those public hearings, that anybody that was going to be attending was notified of this, of our intention to reschedule, and that's
Yes, but I'll refer it to Linda.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Everybody has been notified, and it will also be going in the local paper and on the website.
Yeah, and that's not going to create any big difficulties with any of the ingredients of the public hearing.
No, we've already had a discussion with the developer.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? You have the motion on the floor. All in favor? Carried. Item 8.3, rescheduling the public hearing for the bylaw 13-18 LUB amendments. Any questions?
No, I'd move the council reschedule the public hearing for bylaw number 13-8 land use amendment, redesignation CB to R3 to November 27th, 2013.
Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. 8.4 is the Alberta 55 Plus Games Committee, and we have some appointments for that. Only one. Do we have any questions in regards to these appointments? No? Can we have a motion on the board?
Your worship, I would move that council appoint the above, I guess I should name them, shouldn't I?
Yes.
Your worship, I would move that council appoint Karen Binns as Director of Guest and Community Programs and Grace Schouten as Director of Promotions to become members of the Board of Directors for the 2015 Alberta 55 Plus Games in Strathmore.
Any discussion?
Your worship, I just comment, I believe that completes that board of directors at this time. So once again, my congratulations goes out to our chairperson, Denelda Ledeen. That's in that short time, it's amazing that she's got all these positions filled. So good on her.
No further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, it would be possibly a good idea for council to send a letter to Mrs. Ledeen, thanking her for her work on this, because it is significant.
Administration will take care of that for us. Thank you. All in favor? And carried. And 8.5 is for information purposes, I believe, a report on supply of electricity and natural gas commencing in 2014. Do we have any questions? Sorry, go ahead.
I'd like to call on Mel Teedy to give some comments on this. The work that he's done has saved us a few $100,000.
Good evening, Your Worship, Council. The town had an arrangement in the past with AMSC for the purchase of electricity and natural gas. That contract and agreement expires at the end of this calendar year. Back on May 1st, Council authorized administration to engage the services of Energy Associates to provide consulting services and work with us towards the purchase of electricity and natural gas for the upcoming year, which they did. An RFP was completed for electricity and for natural gas, two separate ones. The RFP for electricity closed earlier in the year, July 3rd, and the natural gas one just closed more recently on October 16th. For the supply of electricity and natural gas, tenders or proposals were received, and for natural gas, for a 3-year term, the prices ranged from $3.78 to $3.91 per gigajoule. The town is currently paying $8.33 per gigajoule. Based on an average year's usage, the town will achieve an annual cost reduction of $119,000. compared to the current contractual arrangement. The savings for electricity were 3.49 cents per kilowatt hour, amounting to an estimated $215,000 in savings for the upcoming year. And the vendor for natural gas is Access Gas, and for electricity, NMAX, a name we would all recognize. Those are my comments.
We have a recommendation on that. Do we have any questions?
I don't know about a question, but a comment. I think it would be important to point out who else uses this company. This is a company with some background to them, and are well used in the province at this time.
Yes, they are. Both NMAX and Access Gas was or has been used by a number of other companies and was recommended by the consulting firm who've dealt with them in the past.
Your Worship, Mr. Teedy, thank you on behalf of the town for your work. A savings of $335,000, significant.
We'll see some of those savings as we review the budget shortly.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Worship, I'd move the council accept this report as information, and thank you, Mr. Teedy.
Any discussion? All in favor? And carried. Our next item on the agenda is 8.6 Bill C-28. This is a new bill that's just come to our attention, and Councillor Sobel attended a meeting in regards to that. Councillor Sobel, are you in a position to give us a brief outline?
Well, just generally, the meeting was this evening with Minister Griffiths and a number of members from the CRP. So it was a Calgary Regional Partnership meeting with the minister, and just to express some concerns over Bill 28. What I can say is that the bill has gone through second reading, and it has been stalled at this point to give the minister some time to get some feedback from various groups, including CRP, AUMA, AVMC, and a number of other groups in the province. So he's definitely in a position where he wants to listen and is prepared to make some changes on what is felt to be problematic areas. That those talks are going to continue for a number of weeks and perhaps months until everyone is basically satisfied with the end product. So it was a good meeting, and it was a encouraging meeting, and I'm at this point in time, you know, it was good to see the minister in and discussing this in the frank way that he did.
Okay. Any questions of Councillor Sobel?
Councillor Sobel, you said that Mr. Griffith noted that they would continue conversation until everyone was satisfied with the outcome. Are those his words?
Well, without going into too much detail, he wants this to work. He's not his position on this is that he wants this to be accepted by everyone. Those were his words, and those are his wishes. So he's going to work very hard, I think, at trying to get everybody satisfied with the end result.
Mr. Mayor, how comfortable are you discussing Bill 28 when it is still in its second reading phase in this environment? Is this the venue in which to discuss Bill 28?
I would suggest at this point, until we have more details in regards to the bill, we're still in the learning phase of this this bill. So until we have some more information, I don't know if we can talk and make sense of it at this point. So that's my feeling.
I have a lot of details about Bill, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I've read it also. But
and I have grave concerns as to how it applies to municipal council.
I also have some
and
very,
community.
yeah, I also have some very grave concerns, especially when it affects the chief counselor particularly. Um, So, but we will be bringing this forward to other council meetings, and then after we have some meetings during the AUMA and some further discussion on it, we will bring it further onto the to our agenda and discuss it.
I would like to move that it become an agenda item for discussion at our November 27th meeting. November 27th, 2015.
I'm not sure that that's appropriate because I don't know will we have anything to speak about. This is a matter that is changing as we speak, and how the bill sits today may not be as it sits on November 27th. So I mean, certainly if we're in a position that the bill is ready to go to third reading, and we wish to make note of certain issues that we're not happy with, I have absolutely no problem with it bringing it forward. But I think that's presumptuous at this time. That's just my personal.
Your Worship, I don't think it's ever presumptuous to discuss legislation, especially when we have the opportunity afforded to us by the Premier. I think that it's too late once Bill 28 goes to final reading. It's too late to make any kind of input, and I think that it behooves Strathmore Council to put forward their input as to how they view this current bill as it stands. Because at this point, that's what we have to work with. Our government has made it public, and that's what they've given us to work with. And I think that we owe it to our community, especially in terms of the issues around planning and growth. I think we owe it to our community to have a response.
Any further discussion? Do we have two motions on the floor right now, or just the one motion? Do we have the one motion, and the one motion by Councillor Peterson? Okay. Any further? Does anybody want the motion read again? No.
No.
Okay, Councillor Rempel.
Through the chair, I have no problem with putting it on the November 27th agenda. If there are further items to discuss at that time, I'm fine. If not, then we'll just keep tabling it or postponing it and put it on a future agenda.
And through the chair, thank you, Councillor Rempel. And my reason for putting it to November 27th is because many of you will be attending AUMA, and I'm assuming that lots more information is going to come forward at that time. And I believe that we'll be in a much better place to talk and to think and reason a position from our community's perspective at that time.
I agree.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to bring it forward and discuss further Bill C-28 on November the 27th at a council meeting. No further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Number 9 is administration. Any items for administration to bring forward? No. Okay. 10 is committee reports. Yeah. Okay, the committee reports, and I don't have the list of the committees in front of me here.
You don't need it. Their committee reports are as. Pardon?
Councillor by councillor.
Well, yeah, and not all committees meet every month either, so we don't need a list of the committees.
Well, between October the 28th and present, has anybody attended any committee meetings?
I have, Your Worship.
Councillor Fuel?
Yes, last night I attended the youth club. Do you want me to report on it now?
Please.
Okay. Last night I attended the youth club board meeting, and there's just a few highlights that I'd like to mention. Number one, we're still hoping to have a New Year's Eve gala as a fundraiser, but ticket sales are slow. It's $75 per person with a meal, a live band, a toonie bar, and appetizers. Our programs are running well. And we have an after-school program that's doing really well. It's homework help as well as a recreational component. But we have had, and if I could get this into the media, it would be great. We have had complaints come in above us to the licensing department. And I've been asked to read this, that the After the Bell program is a structured after-school program for homework and has a recreational component. We are not required to have a license for this, and we have been in regular contact with the licensing department. So that, Your Worship, is just because there's been some concerns raised, and every time they've been raised, we've addressed them properly, but they keep cropping up. So the after-school programs are going really well, and right now we have up to 12 kids in the program. Just a maintenance issue, the main entrance door is broken and cannot be locked. We're having some problems there, and there's only a canvas covering on one of the roof skylights, so that's a dangerous situation. And I am planning a twilight sports night for youth age 12 to 17 at Strathmore High Gym, and it will be a variety of sports with some adult supervision from 6 to 8 p.m. On one of the nights, it'll be a Friday night when there are no high school sports. And that's my report.
Thank you. Any other reports? Councillor Lopeland?
Thank you, Your Worship. I attended a handy bus meeting on October 28th. The financials continue to look very well. The association is in very good shape financially. Operations as well are in good shape. We had 623 trips booked in September. Total repairs and maintenance year to date is under $3,000 on 6 vehicles, which is pretty remarkable. The main discussion at that meeting was the after-hours transportation from the hospital back to Sagewood. The board felt the association could not afford to do this at this point in time. The information we got was the provincial average numbers are at $43 an hour to run this kind of service. To provide extra evening hours, we need extra drivers, extra dispatchers. It was felt by the board to send this matter back to Sagewood. Other facilities and other municipalities provide their own transportation in this kind of situation. Keep in mind, we do have a 724-hour emergency line that stays on in the evening with Hetty, and we have transported some patients back to Sagewood later in the evening. So this is an ongoing dilemma that has to be rectified somewhere. It's just the Handy Bus Association felt it wasn't in our mandate to be able to do that.
Councillor Blockland, you said other municipalities have other solutions to this. Do you know what those are?
I don't know what they are, but what I meant was other municipalities with facilities like Sagewood. They provide their own transportation back and forth.
So Sagewood themselves would build that into their process.
That's what we're kind of hoping to send a message back to them.
I see.
Because we realize there is a problem, but we just can't be the solution to that problem right at this point in time.
Thank you.
I have one other unofficial report I just found out about tonight, and like that official report, Alberta Health Services has accepted Wadenza's contract proposals. So this has been a 2-year battle, and I'm very proud of the board I sit on out there, and I can't wait to get together with these people out there, because this is a very big stepping stone for Strathmore and Leakland County. It's something we worked very hard at for a couple of years on this, and this is a major positive plus thing for us. So that was it.
Thank you. Your Worship, I do have a committee report. With Community Futures Wild Rose, I have a direct conflict that night. It's the first Thursday of every month. I'm unable to sit on that committee. Hoping there's someone else from council that's willing to sit on that committee for me.
At this point, I have agreed to cover you for tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
And then the next meeting after that would be 1 month later.
Yep.
And I guess we could sit together as a council and decide whether or not I will sit on it permanently, or whether or not somebody else will sit on it.
I have to check, but I might be able to too.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's the Strathmore Lions night, and I'm a Lions member, so they need to see me once in a while, Your Worship.
Can I have a motion then to accept the information as information?
So moved, Your Worship.
Any discussion? All in favor? And carried. The next item on our agenda is any questions between councillors or to administration? Councillor Walsh.
Your Worship, to Dr. Stanford, when is the fall workshop being planned?
It's on Friday night, November the 15th, from 7 to 9. And then on the 16th, it's from 8 in the morning and pretty well all day. And on the Friday night, we'll cover some of the departments such as fire department, maybe some of the recreational ones and so on. And then on Saturday, those people need to come, and we'll be talking about the big departments and so on.
Okay. My subsequent question then, Dr. Stanford, is when will the budget reports be available?
Are we going to have them tomorrow?
We're working on them now.
It's going to be tight.
Yeah.
But you'll get them, okay, later this week? Okay. Okay.
Next weekend.
They're working hard to get them out as soon as they can. The latest
Next
would be next Tuesday.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Number 12 is council invitations, and what we do is we have one that was added on for National Child Day proclamation. Any questions? Jennifer?
Sorry, yes, Your Worship. I'll just maybe explain a little bit. We received this request for council proclamation yesterday. And because there won't be a meeting on the 20th now, we thought we need to bring it forward tonight. So we did receive this. It's a request to proclaim November 20th as National Child Day. There's a letter attached from the 5 for Life group in regards to that day. So our recommendation is just to proclaim, to make the proclamation. Sorry.
Your Worship, no, I have no questions, but I would make a motion that council proclaim November 20th, 2013 as National Child Day in the town of Strathmore.
Discussion? All in favor? Carried. I think that is...
Your Worship, I do have one more council invitation. It is the Strathmore Lions are having an open house on November the 7th at the Strathmore Golf Course. I'm looking to see what time it is. I thought I had that handy, but I believe it's 6:30. Thank you, Your Worship. 6:30, we're extending that to all public to come and see what the Strathmore Lions do. So hope to see everyone there, except you, Your Worship. I know you have a conflict that night.
Thank you. No other items on the agenda? I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All in favor? Carried.
Is that right, you think?